There is a cold reality, as bleak as the view from the 9 windows of an old Soviet-era apartment in Minsk, Belarus, that is crushing families. Irina, you have to decide. We have no other way. A person groans at their mother's words. In her hand is a photograph of a Japanese man who has just arrived. Today's story is about a young Belarusian woman who had never left her homeland in her life, who decided to go to a Japanese man she had never seen for the sake of her family. She had dreams, but had to give them all up due to her father's sudden unemployment and her mother's worsening illness. 2 years passed, and one day, her parents, who had visited Japan, said they sat down and cried upon seeing their daughter. What kind of events befell this family? Let's listen to her story together. Your subscriptions and likes are a great strength for me. Hello, I am Irina. I was born and raised in a city in Belarus, Minsk. Minsk is the capital city of Belarus, a small country located in Eastern Europe, lined with gray apartment buildings built during the Soviet era. It is a cold town where it drops to -20 degrees in winter, but for me, it is my hometown filled with warm memories. My house was in a 9-story apartment complex near Lenin Street. My father, Mikhail, was a skilled technician who had worked for many years at a state-owned machine factory, and my mother, Elena, was a seamstress who worked at a garment factory near the market. I was an only child. My parents had me at a late age, so I was their only child and their only treasure. My parents doted on me from a young age. Irina, you are a special child. You are our pride, my father always said while stroking my head. I loved playing with hair since I was a child. In elementary school, my hobby was braiding my friend's hair beautifully, and in junior high school, I honed my skills by dyeing my mother's gray hair. By the time I graduated from high school, I was convinced my path was to be a hair designer. However, my family's finances were not wealthy. I wanted to go to famous beauty schools in Moscow or St. Petersburg, but that was a distant dream. So, after graduating from high school, I started working as a waitress at a restaurant called Restella in Minsk. During the day, I carried dishes at the restaurant, and at night, I attended a small beauty academy nearby while saving money. My goal was to save enough money within 2 years and enroll in Moscow Beauty. Every night, in my small room, I studied hairstyles from Paris Fashion Week on YouTube. I practiced all night on an old mannequin head and improved my skills by doing the hair of my colleagues at the restaurant for free. Irina, you are truly talented. If you become famous in the future, make our hair cheap for us. My colleague Marina always joked. I was happy, because I believed that even though it was tough now, I was taking one step at a time towards my dream. However, everything began to crumble. The state-owned machine factory, where my father worked, suddenly closed down. Due to changes in government industrial policy, factory operating subsidies were suspended, and 500 workers became unemployed overnight. It's okay, Irina. Your father will find another job soon, my father said. But it was not easy for a 60-year-old to find a new job. 1 month passed, 2 months passed, but my father could not find a job. Our savings rapidly dwindled, and the atmosphere in the house became heavy with anxiety. To make matters worse, my father's diabetes, which he had suffered from for over 20 years, began to worsen significantly. One evening, after finishing my shift at the restaurant and returning home, I saw my father's hand wrapped in bandages. Dad, what happened? Nothing. Just a small scratch. However, the wound did not heal even after a week. Due to diabetic complications, the wound's healing was delayed. My mother quietly said, Irina, your father's eyesight has also worsened considerably. We need to go to the hospital insurance. The hospital bills and the monthly medication alone exceeded half of our family's income. I started working double shifts at the restaurant. I worked from day to night, and on weekends, I even cleaned at a nearby cafe. I could no longer attend Beauty Academy. I had to save the tuition fees and use them for the family's living expenses. My dream was becoming more distant, but if I didn't, there was no one to support this household. One cold morning, disaster struck. I received a desperate call from my mother. "Irina, your father collapsed. Come quickly." I explained the situation to the restaurant manager and rushed home. An ambulance was parked in front of the apartment, and my father was being carried away on a stretcher. It was a hypoglycemic shock. The waiting time in the hospital's emergency room felt like hell. Hours later, a doctor came out and called us into his office. Just looking at his expression, I knew it was bad news. The patient's kidney function is only at 15%. If we don't start dialysis immediately, his life is in danger, and his diabetic retinopathy is also severe. One eye has already lost most of its vision, and the other is rapidly worsening. The moment I heard the word dialysis, my heart froze. "How much will the treatment cost?" my mother asked with a trembling voice. "Dialysis must be done 3 times a week for 4 hours each time. It costs about $800 a month, including retinopathy treatment and medication. About $1,000 a month is needed." $1,000. Our family's monthly income was only about $500. My mother and I sat on the cold bench in the hospital hallway. At that moment, I felt the weight of the word despair for the first time. I applied for a loan at the bank, but was rejected due to lack of collateral. I asked relatives for help, but they all shook their heads, saying they had their own difficulties. "I'm sorry, Elena. We have debts too," my uncle said and turned away. For a week, we tried every possible method, but found no solution. It was then that I received a call from my Aunt Natalia, who lived in Poland. "Elena, have you ever heard of international marriage? There is a country called Japan, and men there are eager to marry foreign women. They say they give you a lump sum of money if you marry them." That night, our family sat at the small dining table. My mother carefully opened her mouth. "Irina," my aunt says. At that moment, I understood what my mother was trying to say. I had seen it on TV, stories of women from Ukraine and Belarus going abroad, but it was always someone else's story. "Mom, I'm sorry. Irina, I'm really sorry, but there's no other way." Tears welled up in my mother's eyes. If you weren't here, there would be no one. You are not alone, not alone." Those 3 words pressed heavily on my chest. If I had a brother or sister, could I have shared this burden? But in my house, I was the only one. I couldn't sleep for a week. My dream of studying abroad in Moscow, my dream of opening my own salon in Minsk. I shed countless tears while looking out the window. However, the image of my father lying in the hospital bed never left my mind. "I'm sorry, my daughter." His voice echoed in my ears. Finally, I made up my mind. "Mom, I'll go to Japan." The moment I said those words, my mother cried silently in my arms. "I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Irina." "It's okay, Mom. I'll definitely save Dad." That day, I styled the mannequin's hair for the last time in my room. The photos of Paris Fashion Week taped to the wall, the room magazines I had collected, and the old notebook where I had written Irina's dream salon. Each time I cut, it felt like I was cutting up my dreams, but I am alone. The only hope and the only support for my parents. Thus, I decided to go to a country I had never seen, on the other side of the world, Japan. The week after deciding on Japan passed in a hurry. Through a matchmaker, my Aunt Natalia Natalia in Poland had introduced me to, I prepared the documents: passport, photos, birth certificate, health checkup certificate. As I prepared each one, I realized this is really happening. And the first person I met on video call was Kenji Suzuki. In the screen, he was 36 years old, with a simple impression. "Hello, Irina. I am Kenji Suzuki. I run a small hardware store in Saitama Prefecture, Japan." He spoke in hesitant English. His voice was gentle, but I couldn't speak a single word properly. Yes. Hello. In fact, it didn't matter what kind of person he was. I just needed a way to help my father. The matchmaker promised a speedy process. From obtaining marriage documents at the Belarusian embassy to applying for a Japanese visa, everything was completed in just 3 weeks. In the meantime, Kenji sent me some of my father's dialysis treatment costs in advance. Thanks to that, my father was able to start emergency dialysis. I was grateful, but at the same time, my heart felt heavy. When would I be able to repay all this money? The night before I left, I packed my luggage in my room. One small suitcase, several photo albums, and old hair design textbooks. As I looked around the room, my youth remained there as it was. The photos of Paris Fashion Week taped to the wall, the mannequin head I used to practice on, and the notebook titled Irina's Life Plan. I looked out the window, the night view of Minsk, the snowy landscape. Goodbye, my hometown, my dreams. I said goodbye in a small voice. At the time of departure, at Minsk National Airport, my parents came to the airport with me. My father was in a wheelchair. He had weakened considerably since starting dialysis. "Irina," my father said, holding my hand, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for ruining your life like this." "Yes, Dad, I'm okay." It was a lie. I wasn't okay at all. My mother hugged my arm and cried for a while. "Contact me often, Irina. Don't get sick and stay healthy." "Yes, Mom, don't worry." The boarding announcement was made. I hugged them tightly. "I promise I will definitely cure Dad." The moment I turned away, tears welled up. I didn't look back once until I got on the plane, because if I looked back, I felt like I would collapse. On the plane to Japan, for over 10 hours of flight time, I couldn't sleep at all. Looking out the window, I thought, what kind of country is Japan? Will the food agree with me? What will the people be like? And above all, can I really spend my whole life with Kenji Suzuki? The passenger next to me was sleeping comfortably, but I couldn't even close my eyes. Anxiety, fear, and guilt mixed together, pressing on my chest. Narita International Airport. The moment I got off the plane and exited the immigration lobby, a man holding a sign written in English stood there. "Welcome, Irina." It was Kenji Suzuki, the person I had seen on video call. "Irina, you must be tired." He smiled awkwardly and took my suitcase. I just nodded. I didn't know what to say. Silence flowed on the way to the car. Kenji occasionally glanced at me, trying to speak, then giving up. After driving for a while, he carefully opened his mouth. "Did your father's dialysis start smoothly?" "Yes, I heard by phone. Thank you." That was all I could do. It took about 2 hours by his car. The place we arrived at was a small town in Saitama Prefecture. Narrow alleys continued between old buildings. This is our town. It's quiet, but everyone is nice. Kenji's house was a 2-story apartment at the end of an alley. It was small but clean. His parents lived separately nearby. "This house will be used by the two of us." I just nodded. When we entered the house, Kenji opened the door to a room. "This is Irina's room. Please live here for a while until you get used to it. If you have any inconveniences, please tell me anytime." "Yes, one would hear me. The first week in Japan was all unfamiliar. I couldn't communicate at all. The food was very spicy, and even the weather was different from Belarus. Kenji left early every morning for his hardware store and returned late at night. I stayed alone in the apartment, studying Japanese and spending my days. I missed my family in Belarus, especially when I thought of my father undergoing dialysis. I shed tears every night. One day, Kenji said carefully while eating dinner, "Irina, let's go to my parents' house together. You have to greet them." Yes. The next day, we visited his parents' house. It was a small, single-story house with many potted plants in the garden. "Oh, my daughter-in-law has come." My mother-in-law beamed and shook my hand. It must have been hard coming from so far. "Come in." My parents-in-law just nodded silently. I greeted them awkwardly. "Hello." My mother-in-law laid out a table full of dishes, meat dishes, grilled fish, spinach stew. But for me, who could barely use chopsticks, everything was difficult. On the fourth day, my mother-in-law called me. "Daughter-in-law, wouldn't you be bored and lonely just staying at home? Won't you come to our store and help out?" Kenji's parents ran a small convenience store at the entrance of the town. The work isn't difficult. Just organize the products and calculate when customers come. I nodded, because I thought it would be better than being alone at home. From the fourth day, I started working at my mother-in-law's convenience store. At first, communication was difficult, and even communicating with customers was challenging. "Does this have a different flavor?" "Yes." When customers pointed to a product and asked, I didn't understand what they were asking and had to call my mother-in-law. However, my mother-in-law didn't get angry. "It's okay. You can learn slowly." While saying that, she taught me Japanese words one by one. "This is milk. This is ramen. This is bread." After a few days, I was able to memorize simple product names. The customers also gradually got used to me. "Ah, it's Kenji's daughter-in-law. I heard she's from Belarus." "Yes. It's cold in Belarus too, isn't it? How is it here?" "Yes, I like it." Although my Japanese was hesitant, people treated me kindly. About a month later, my mother-in-law took me to the city's International Exchange Center. "You can take Japanese classes here. You'll also make many foreign friends." I started attending Japanese classes 3 times a week in the morning. In the class, there were many women like me who had come to Japan through international marriage. Vietnam, Philippines, Cambodia, Uzbekistan. Everyone was living hard in a strange land. "Sister, where are you from?" asked Sui from Vietnam. "Belarus. Where is that?" "Near Russia." "Yes, it's similar." I became friends with them and comforted each other by sharing our stories. One night, I had a video call with my mother in Belarus. "Irina, are you doing well?" "Yes." "Mom, I'm okay. Is Dad receiving dialysis properly?" "Yes. We're buying medicine with the money you sent." My mother's eyes turned red. Thank you. Thank you so much." "Mom, don't cry. I'm really okay." It was a lie. I wasn't okay at all. After hanging up, I cried again. This time, I couldn't hold back my sobs. It was so painful. My muffled sobs leaked through the thin wall. Kenji was standing in front of my room door at that moment, but he didn't knock. He just stood there quietly for a while, and then returned to his room. But that night, he made up his mind. "I'll help Irina be happy." It was about 3 months after coming to Japan. One Saturday afternoon, while working at the convenience store, an elderly female customer came in. "Is Kenji's mother here?" "Oh, Grandma, welcome." My mother-in-law greeted her with a smile. The grandmother's hair was quite messy, and she sighed, constantly touching her hair. "Oh, what should I do with this hair?" I thought of going to the hair salon, but they all said they were booked. Seeing that, I couldn't stand still. "Grandma, shall I do your hair for you?" Although my Japanese was hesitant, the grandmother understood my words. "Oh, my dear girl. Yes, I studied beauty in Belarus." My mother-in-law looked at me with a surprised expression. "Daughter-in-law, you can do beauty." "Yes, a little." It wasn't just a little. I had been recognized for my skills in Minsk. The grandmother sat on a small chair behind the convenience store, and I borrowed scissors from my mother-in-law. The moment I held the scissors in my hand, I felt alive again for the first time in 3 months. Carefully, I brushed and trimmed the grandmother's hair, balancing it. My hands remembered. The angle, the length, the layers. Everything I learned at the Beauty Academy in Minsk naturally revived at my fingertips. 20 minutes later, yes, it's done. My mother-in-law brought a mirror. The grandmother's eyes widened the moment she saw the mirror. "Wow, is this me? Is this really my hair?" Her messy hair was neatly trimmed, and her face contour looked much softer. "Oh, thank you. You're much better than the salon." The grandmother left, thanking me repeatedly. Seeing that, my mother-in-law quietly took my hand. "Daughter-in-law, you had such good skills. Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I couldn't answer. How could I explain that I gave up all my dreams and came here? That evening, when Kenji returned home, my mother-in-law seemed to have called him. Kenji called me to the living room. "Irina, I heard from my mother. You can do beauty, right?" "Yes. It doesn't seem like just a little. My mother said you are truly skilled." He hesitated for a moment. "Was becoming a hairdresser your dream before coming to Japan?" At that question, tears welled up in my eyes. Yes, I wanted to become a hair artist in Belarus, but my father got sick. I couldn't continue and looked down. Kenji looked at me silently for a while, then quietly said, "Irina, how about starting again in Japan?" "What, as a hairdresser?" "There are hairdresser qualifications in Japan too. Foreigners can also get them." I couldn't believe it, but I don't speak much Japanese either. "You can learn slowly. I will help you." The moment I saw his sincere gaze, I couldn't help but shed tears. "Is it really okay?" "It's okay. It's a waste to let your talent sleep here." That night, for the first time in a long time, I slept with hope. I thought I had given up my dream, but I could dream it again, in a strange land. From that day on, my life completely changed. Kenji helped me as promised. The next evening, he came home with several printed papers. "Irina, I looked into it. It seems there's a beauty education course for foreigners in the city. They also teach Japanese there and help you prepare for the hairdresser qualification exam." I took the papers and stared at them blankly. Really? Do they accept foreigners too? Yes. It seems to be a support program for passage. The tuition is also cheap. It will be difficult. But Irina, you can do it. I'll be by your side to support you. That night, for the first time in a long time, I slept with hope. From the next day, my new challenge began. I enrolled in the Beauty Academy for foreigners in the city. Among them were women like me, who had come to Japan through international marriage, Vietnam, Philippines, Uzbekistan. "Sister, let's do our best together." Lynn from Vietnam held my hand. The teacher taught us Japanese and hairdressing techniques together. Yes, everyone, today we will learn words like cut, layer, volume. During the day, I worked at my mother-in-law's convenience store, and at night, I studied at the Beauty Academy. And at night, Kenji helped me study Japanese. "Irina, let's take it slow. We have plenty of time." His warm words supported me. After 6 months, I passed the Japanese language proficiency test level 5. Although it was the lowest level, It meant a lot to me. Irina, congratulations. Kenji beamed as he looked at my certificate. My mother-in-law also bought rice cakes and fruits and held a small party. Daughter-in-law, I am proud of you. Now, the real beginning is from here. However, the real difficulty was from then on. In Beauty Academy, preparation for the National Hairdresser Qualification Exam began in earnest. The written exam consisted of 5 subjects: public health and sanitation, dermatology, trichology, and cosmetics. In the practical exam, everything from cutting, perming, to coloring had to be done perfectly. Around that time, my mother-in-law prepared a special gift for me. She cleaned out the small storage room at the convenience store and placed a used chair, mirror, and hairdressing tools there. Daughter-in-law, practice here. It would be good to polish your skills by doing the hair of the townspeople for free. Mom, tears welled up in my eyes. My mother-in-law squeezed my hand. I know what your dream is now. I'll help you too. From that day on, I started doing the hair of the town's grandmothers and grandfathers for free. Oh, Irina, thank you. You look 10 years younger. The grandmothers smiled happily while looking in the mirror. Practicing the skills I learned at school in real situations, I gradually gained confidence. Yes, this is what I wanted to do. A year later, I challenged the first National Hairdresser Qualification Exam. The written exam required a score of 60 or higher in all 5 subjects, and the practical exam had to be completed perfectly within the time limit. On the day of the exam, Kenji squeezed my hand in the car on the way to the venue. Don't be nervous. Just do as you always do. Irina is already good enough. However, I failed. I passed the written exam, but I was 5 minutes over the time limit in the practical exam. I sat down crying after leaving the exam venue. Am I no good after all? Was I being too greedy? Kenji hugged me tightly. It's okay. It's your first challenge, isn't it? You'll do better next time. I believe in you, Irina. His trust made me stand up again. The teachers at the Beauty Academy also encouraged me. Irina, your skills are sufficient. Next time, you just need to manage your time well. Please don't give up. 6 months later, my second attempt. I practiced every night, measuring the time, cutting 15 minutes, perming 30 minutes, coloring 25 minutes. While doing the hair of the town's grandmothers, I improved both speed and accuracy simultaneously. On the day of the exam, I calmly proceeded with all the steps as usual: cutting, perming, coloring, setting. My hands trembled, but I poured everything I had practiced into it. After finishing the final touch-up, I looked at the clock. There were exactly 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. I did it. On the day the results were announced, I sat in front of the computer with Kenji. With trembling hands, I entered my exam number. Then I pressed the enter key. The screen displayed, passed. The moment I saw those 2 letters, I sat down and cried. All my efforts in the past flashed through my mind. Kenji also hugged me and cried with me. Congratulations. You really did well. You're amazing. When I called the Beauty Academy teacher, he was also delighted. Irina, heartfelt congratulations. Your hard work has finally paid off. 2 months after passing, a small salon opened in the center of town. It was a cozy shop of about 20 square meters, with a rent of 50,000 yen. Irina, how about starting here? Kenji asked carefully. But I don't have money. I have savings. Let's start with that. Besides, my mother said she'll help. I couldn't believe it. Are you really going to do this much for me, this family? It's okay. Isn't it Irina's dream? 1 month later, a small hair salon, Irina's Salon, opened in town. The day I put up the sign, I stood in front of it for a while. customers. My mother-in-law also came and squeezed my hand. Congratulations, my daughter-in-law. I'm truly proud. The teachers from the Beauty Academy and my friends from the international class also visited with bouquets. Kenji smiled quietly from the corner of the shop. A year later, Irina's salon became a popular hair salon in town. Especially with my delicate cutting and coloring techniques, many young customers also visited. Irina manager, is it possible to make a reservation for next week? Irina-san's skills are truly different. Around that time, the relationship between Kenji and me also began to change gradually. What started as a contract marriage was now different. We prepared dinner together after work and went shopping at the market on weekends. As we spent our ordinary days together, we became a real couple. One spring night, Kenji carefully held my hand. Irina, no, can I call you by your first name from now on? I smiled and nodded. Yes, you. And for the first time, we hugged each other with all our hearts. 6 months after the salon opened, I had saved enough money. I called Belarus. Mom, Dad, please come visit me in Japan. I'll prepare all the airfare. My mother choked up on the other end of the phone. Irina, are you really okay? Yes. Mom, I'm okay now. I have my own shop, a good husband, and my in-laws want to meet you too. Please come. 3 weeks later, I was waiting for my parents with Kenji in the arrival lobby of Narita International Airport. I held a welcome bouquet in my hand. The automatic doors opened, and my father and mother appeared in a wheelchair. Irina. My mother ran towards me, shouting. I also hugged my mother, crying. Mom, I missed you. My father, sitting in his wheelchair, squeezed my hand. Our daughter. Dad. Kenji approached and greeted them. Hello, I am Kenji Suzuki. It was a greeting prepared in Belarusian. My father firmly shook Kenji's hand and nodded. Thank you. Thank you very much for taking good care of our daughter. Kenji also bowed his head. That day, we returned to town and stood in front of Irina's salon. The moment my parents saw the sign, they sat down and cried, Irina, our daughter has really done it. Tears welled up in my eyes at my father's words. Yes, Dad, I did it. The 2 weeks I spent with my parents were like a dream. My father was in a wheelchair, but his expression was very happy. Irina, your salon is wonderful. My mother kept crying as she looked around my shop. I'm so proud that our daughter has become so successful. My in-laws treated my parents with great kindness. My mother-in-law prepared home-cooked Japanese meals every day, and my father-in-law took the whole family sightseeing in Tokyo every weekend. Asakusa, Tokyo Tower, Ginza. The time we spent walking together, pushing his wheelchair, became the most precious memories for me. On the last night, the whole family gathered around the dinner table. My in-laws, my parents, Kenji and I. My father-in-law said, holding a bottle of sake, I am truly happy that Irina came to our home. We are now one family. My father also said, thank you. Thank you very much for cherishing our daughter so much. That night, my father and I talked alone. Irina, are you happy? Yes, Dad. I am truly happy. It wasn't like that at first, was it? Dad knows everything. How much you suffered. Dad, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for taking away all your youth. I squeezed my father's hand. It's okay, Dad. I have no regrets. I came here, fulfilled my dream, and my family treats me very well. I am truly happy and have no worries now. My father stroked my head and cried quietly. Thank you. Thank you so much. After my parents returned to Belarus, I returned to my daily life. But everything was different. Customers increased day by day, and I was no longer alone. Perhaps it was because I had friends from the Beauty Academy, the but the symptoms continued for several days. Kenji asked with a worried expression, "Irina, shouldn't you go to the hospital?" "It's okay. I think I'm just a little tired." However, it didn't get better after a few days. Even while working, I suddenly felt nauseous, and it was painful. Finally, I visited the hospital. The doctor smiled kindly while looking at the ultrasound screen. "Congratulations, Irina. You are 8 weeks pregnant." "Yes, look." He pointed to the screen, and I saw a small dot, that tiny heart beating. Tears welled up in my eyes on the spot. "Baby, I'm going to be a mother." After work, I returned home. Kenji was watching TV in the living room. I sat quietly in front of him. "I have something to tell you." Kenji looked at me with a surprised expression. "What is it?" I took out the ultrasound photo from my bag. "You, look at this." Kenji took the photo and stared at it blankly. "What is this?" "You. We're going to have a baby." At that moment, tears streamed down Kenji's eyes. "Really?" He hugged me tightly. "Thank you. Thank you so much." Kenji was truly happy. He had waited for me to fulfill my dream, but in his heart, he seemed to have been waiting for a baby. That night, we informed my in-laws. My mother-in-law cried with joy, and my father-in-law silently patted my shoulder. "Well done, daughter-in-law. You've done very well." I also called my parents in Belarus. "Mom, I'm pregnant." My mother cried with joy on the phone. "Irina, is it true?" "Oh, thank God." 7 months later, I gave birth to a healthy baby girl. She was a truly cute baby, looking half like me and half like Kenji. Kenji cried while holding the baby. Our daughter is truly cute. My in-laws also rushed to the hospital and looked at the baby happily. My friends from the beauty academy and even the teachers visited and congratulated me. My father-in-law gave her the name Hana Suzuki. It was a beautiful name. Hana is now over 1 year old. She has started walking and calls me Mama and Papa. When I return home from work, she toddles over and hugs me. "Mama." Hearing that voice makes my heart melt every time. Sometimes I think about that night 3 years ago when I boarded the plane from Minsk to Japan. At that time, I thought my life was over. I thought I had lost all my dreams and happiness. But I was wrong. It wasn't the end, but a new beginning. Here in Japan, I found my dream again. The dream of becoming a hair artist that I couldn't fulfill in Belarus. I learned a foreign language, studied day and night, and there were many moments when I wanted to give up, but I ultimately succeeded. And most importantly, I met Kenji. What started as a contract marriage was now the most important person in my life. The one who believed in me, supported me, and helped me fulfill my dream. My in-laws also treated me like their own daughter. They warmly welcomed me, even though I spoke hesitant Japanese and knew nothing about Japanese culture. And now, in my arms, is my lovely daughter, Hana, our beautiful baby, inheriting the blood of 2 countries, Japan and Belarus. My parents in Belarus are also doing well. My father is still undergoing dialysis, but they say his condition is stable. I feel proud thinking that the money I send is of some help. Japan is now my hometown because I fulfilled my dream here and built a loving family. At this moment, I can say from the bottom of my heart, I am truly happy, and I want to tell you all, life is unpredictable. Sometimes you have to make desperate choices, but those choices can become new opportunities. You will realize that all the current hardships were just important steps